Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mauni. I hope you all are doing good. It's a beautiful morning today, and I would like to start with a very good statement. Joy does not simply happen to us. We have to choose joy and keep choosing it every day. A very interesting thing that took place with me this morning. I recorded this whole lecture, right? And every time I record, once it is done, I do, of course, go through a sort of quality check to make sure that video and audio is all right. So I realized after recording 36 minute lecture, I realized that the audio quality was not good, so I have to re-record it. And of course, naturally, I felt very bad for a couple of seconds, but very soon I decided that I should choose joy rather than being miserable and not happy about it and being angry. I decided to go with joy and keep a smiling face. So what I would like to share with this practical example that just took place with me is that it is very important that we identify our emotions, right? We have to check all the time. We have to check whether we are in a good mood or a bad mood, or whether we are angry or happy or sad. And once we identify it, only then we would be able to choose what we want, right? With this, dear friends, StudyIQ has launched many interesting pen drive and tablet courses. GPSC, then you have UPSC's philosophy optional subjects pen drive course is out, and you have this test series and things like that. So make sure you check out studyiq.com to know more about it. With this, we have the first item pertaining to triple talaq. We have talked about triple talaq quite a lot of times, so I would be very quick to the point regarding this thing. Now, it is very sad that outside the parliament as well, outside the parliament, it is quite natural to expect political parties in fierce competition with each other, and their competition is eventually beneficial for the citizens, right? But it is very sad that they continue this same sort of attitude in the parliament as well, because at the end of the day, right, parliament is a temple of democracy. They should leave their individual identities, or you can say their individual loss or victory, whatever. They should keep that thing aside, and they should be more logical, more rational, right? More people conscious when they are in the parliament. And regarding this triple talaq, what we see is that political parties are taking political positions rather than appraising it, or you can say rather than deducing or finding out the illogical things that we find in this bill. Now, three main illogical things about which we have talked as well. One is jailing someone for saying triple talaq. Now, if Supreme Court has said that triple talaq is invalid, then why you need to jail someone? Because that is of no use at all. The second thing is that if you are sending a man behind the bar, then how can you expect that person to pay money or to provide money for his wife and kids? And the third one is there are high chances that this bill or this law can be used against man, because a third party can also complain against a man. So we have talked about this thing quite a lot of time, right? At present, this bill is in Rajya Sabha, and it is believed that the pain, or you can say the bitterness, will continue in the budget session as well. So this is a sad thing. The other thing that I would like to add here is that government has not clarified this thing, that if the man who is being sent behind the bar, just in case this bill is not passed yet, but just imagine, then who is going to pay? If this person is not able to pay it, then is the government going to look after all the expenses of that particular woman and her children? Yes or no? If yes, then how much money is government going to give? So these are the questions that government should ask, and these are the questions that opposition should ask. And it would be better that this bill is sent to a committee, and let the committee decide or come out with some suggestions. With this, dear friends, this one is about economic headwinds that we may face in near future. Now, back in recent past, Chief Economic Advisor, now the name itself suggests that whenever you need any economic advice, when I say you, I mean to say the government, right, then it can knock the door of Arvind Subramaniam, because he is at present Chief Economic Advisor of our country. So what he said that the GDP growth or economy is going to grow max by 6.5, somewhere around 6.5, he said, right? And what we are going to get from Central Statistic Office, it has also indicated that he is right. The things are going to be around 6.5 or a bit lower than 6.5 this year. So of course a matter of worry for our country, because we were expecting to touch 8 and 8 plus or 7 plus at least, right? And this 0.5 matters a lot, because we are talking about India, right? We are a huge, one of the major economy in the world, right? So the matter of worry, or the thing is the headwinds, right? Here he said, CEA said that this is going to happen, and he also highlighted, or he also said that there are some issues that we may face in near future, and the place where we are standing at present, it looks that he is right, because the GVA is also down. Now if you don't know what GVA is, then basically you take out taxes from your GDP and what you get is GVA. So one more thing that I would like to highlight here is that every time you see a bar or a graph of a GVA and GDP, then naturally the GDP or the figures of GDP is going to be higher all the time than GVA, because here you have tax in GDP, and in GVA you don't have tax, so naturally it is going to be lower all the time when you compare it with GDP. So it was 6.6 in 2016-17, and it is going to be 6.1 this year. That's what it is believed. The other thing is that manufacturing is down, agriculture is down, forestry, fishing is down, and this is one of the main reason why the taxes, or you can say forget about the taxes, this is one of the main reason why GVA figures are going down, right? The other thing is that gross capital, fixed capital formation is likely to slow down. That means investment will slow down. When investment is down, we know that for a very long period of time it is the government who was investing in the market, in the economy, and private players were still not ready yet, and it was believed that after this rank 100 of ours in this ease of doing business, after that we are going to see some domestic private investors, right, who are having money, but they are not investing. They are not feeling that confident to invest in Indian market. So it was believed that they will invest in the market. And remember, if we want a sort of holistic development, then we need both public as well as private investment. Just public investment or just government investing in the market, or you can say by constructing roads and things like that. Of course, infrastructure development is a good thing, but just investment by the government is not going to help. We need both. They are like a big giant aeroplane, and you have two engines, right, twin engines. So we need both these engines working. We don't need a situation in which only one engine is performing at its max, and after that we find that it has burned out. And something like that took place with our government at present. It has crossed this fiscal deficit target of this budget. So now naturally government is not going to have any sort of money with it. When I say money in it, you can understand that very difficult for the government to pump in more money in the economy. The other thing is gross fixed capital formation. When I said it is down, when investment is going to get down from government as well as private players, then new jobs, new factories and new other demand, we won't see that. Then agriculture is struggling despite normal monsoon. Now you can understand that majority of our population is engaged with agriculture. So if their production is down, so the profit or the pockets won't be that deep. If they have not made that much money, then they are not going to buy all these items. Earlier on, if they used to buy, say for example, I'll just give you a rough example, 2 bottles of hair oil, right? But now they will say that buy one, and that too in a smaller package. So naturally the companies who are producing this hair oil, their production is going to go down. If their production is going to go down, then naturally they are going to seek more raw material, and in this way the whole economy may come down, because here we are talking about agriculture in general. So you can understand the relationship between rural economy as well as urban economy, or you can say the interdependence of agriculture, manufacturing and services. Now one of the main reason why fiscal deficit is down, is GST collection is going down at present. Multiple reasons, right? There are some businesses who have not registered themselves yet. Then you have reduction. Last GST Council meeting reduced many items, so in this way as well, GST collection or the revenue is down. Then at the other hand, you have this oil prices going up. It used to be 50, somewhere around $50 per barrel, but now it is playing somewhere between 60 to 65. So naturally, the money that government was getting out of this high, or you can say consistent tax, or you can say the money that it was getting from this low price of oil, and now it would have less money, and this is of course going to make government a bit stingy when it comes to spending money. And when you have all this sort of situations, when oil prices are going up, so naturally this is going to kick inflation, and if inflation goes up, then Reserve Bank of India will be skeptical in reducing interest rates, so loans won't get cheaper. So this is you can see the whole thing, right? Starting from very, you can say, very basic to bigger items we have discussed it. So I hope these things are clear. Let's move on to a very important article. It is about climate change. Now before I explain this thing to you, I would like to say a couple of points to you guys, right? Climate change is a very important topic. You find questions, either direct questions most of the time, right? If we talk about, say for example, UPSC, then indirect questions. When I say direct, most of the direct questions are asked in your MCQs, and indirect questions are part of your mains exam. Keep this thing in mind, very important. So the way you have to prepare, you have to keep facts and figures in your mind, as well as you have to do a bit of analysis regarding how we are going to fight climate change and what are the things. Now when I say fighting climate change, out of 100 students, all of you would agree that we need more green cover, we need to reduce our carbon dioxide emission, right? Then you will agree that we need to protect our forest in terms of quality and quantity, and there are many other things that every one of us is knowing about, right? Now the benefit of this sort of articles and editorials, right, is that they provide you some things that are not that common. And when you understand, see, it is don't fall into a trap of finding out something out of the box every time. No, when I say a bit of uncommon thing, you don't have to read all the articles that are written on this earth to write one answer. That is not humanly possible. But a bit of, you know, an artistic touch here and there, something unusual, if you include, right, something that is informative, something that is quality, and something that is practical as well, then naturally the person who is going to check your answer will feel that and this is how it works, this is how human mind works, right? Yeah, that person will feel that of course you know something what you are talking about, and the points that you have provided, it is bit out of box. You have you can say segmented yourself, or you can, you know, distinguished yourself from the crowd, so you are going to get bit extra mark. I'm not saying this is not possible that you will get a 12.5 mark out for that question. You would be getting 3, then you would get 4 or maybe 5, right? The 50%, 55% mark or 60% mark is something max as far as I know that you can get from general studies, right? So emission gap report is out, and it says that the pledge, national pledge that different countries have taken to keep the global average, right, average global temperature below 2 degrees Celsius. Very important figure here, average global temperature below 2 degrees Celsius by 2100, right? This is a sort of global pledge, and if possible then we will try to keep it below 1.5 degrees Celsius if possible. I think if we decide, then we can keep it. If every one of us is actively working in this direction. Now, we had this COP23 a couple of days ago. I asked you a question regarding Talanoa, and many of you responded with the answer as well. It is associated with Fiji. It is a culture of giving back, right, about caring and things like that. This is the main philosophy behind Talanoa. And we had this Bone 2017 or COP23. Now let me quickly tell you what COP23 or COP21 and things like why you find 21, 22, 23 these numbers. It's Conference of Parties meeting number 21, that is Paris climate change, very important one. This 2 degree and 1.5 degree thingy is associated with Paris Agreement, and this COP23 took place in Bonn, that is in Germany. Fiji was the country who was, you can say, presiding, or the chair country was Fiji, even though the meeting took place in Bonn because of Bonn, Germany. Because thousands and thousands of people, somewhere around 20,000 people coming to a small island, Fiji, in a very short period of time is going to create immense stress on the limited resources that Fiji has. So this was decided, and Bonn was a sort of, it was having all this infrastructure and things like that, and it was literally empty. So Germany offered this thing. Very good. Now the things that took place here, some of the things are very unusual, the things which we have already said, right, this Fiji and Bonn and things like that. One more thing that I would like to add here is that the traveling of delegation, or the way they traveled was via electric and green buses and things like that, and they were being provided with one bottle that they have to keep with themselves for the whole week, right. It was a sort of water bottle, of course a smaller one. And every time if you want to drink water, then you can use this bottle again. So this was a bit of change. Rather than using thousands and thousands of plastic bottle within very few bottles, you can understand that in one day, if you are using 5 bottles, then you can multiply it with the 20,000 people or the delegation, right? Say for example 10,000 or something. So anyways, these are some of the steps that were out of the box that were taken by this COP23, during this COP23. Now what can be done to improve collaboration or to get some better result out of this whole things that are going on? Now when we talk about our country India, right, we can take some steps. We are a major player, or you can say when it comes to carbon emission, we are number 4 after EU, China, USA, EU and India. In terms of individual country, we are number 3. We are having huge population and other things. Because of this, we are number 3 in carbon emission. Anyways, so the things that we can do is we have to take actions that are producing results. We have to have inclusive strategies that should include everyone in it. And very important thing, this bits we will explain, we will talk about this thing in next slide. But here, bottom up approach. Now what bottom up approach is all about, say for example this is a pyramid. You have central government here and you have this village level government here, or village level people here. So the suggestions should not always flow from top to down, it should also go from down to up. This is why it is known as bottom up approach. So you can get suggestions from central government, as well as you can take opinion and suggestions from grassroots level, and then you can identify the best methods and best things out of it, and then you implement this thing. So this is bottom up approach, very important for our country, a big country like India, in which we have different layers. Now the thing is, we have committed that we are going to reduce the 33% of carbon dioxide that we used to produce at 2005's level. We are going to reduce it to 33% by 2030. And one thing that will help us is our energy basket, right? 40% energy will come from renewable sources. Very good thing. Now what we need is grand coalition of stakeholders in our country. When I say grand coalition, I mean to say that you need central government, you need state governments, you need union territories. Apart from that, we also need district government, we need village government, then you have to include all those experts, right? Then you have to take on board common citizens, you have to take all those different industries that are major producer, all those industries that are best example in mitigating or absorbing this carbon and things like that. So multiple stakeholders coming on board. Of course, decision making process will take a bit of time, but if everyone, as I said, that if everyone is dedicated in sorting out this problem, then we are going to get some very good solutions and some very best methods or best practices through which we can implement these things. Continuous examination is required as we go ahead, and here is a very interesting thing that you can use and for your mains writing as well. Under 2 coalition. What under 2 coalition is basically about, you have MOU, right? It is a sort of setup in which you have sub-national governments. So say for example, you have, let's take example of the signatories of this under 2 coalition. You have Telangana and Chhattisgarh. These are the 2 states from our country have signed MOU under this under 2 coalition. So just India as a country, or just a central government taking part in it, the state government is also taking part in this under 2 coalition, and at present it has 200 plus members, and 24 different state governments of USA are part of this under 2 coalition. 26 of China are part of this under 2 coalition. Sadly, we have just 2, but we need all our states and all our union territories to be part of this thing. And I would also say that not only state government, but you can have under 2 or under 3, whatever name you want to give it to it, right? We can have some more grassroots level people in this sort of coalitions. This one is about land hoarding. Very quickly, dear friends, the way urbanization or the way urban setup is a big problem in our country. We see floods and we see slums and we see many other transport and traffic problems and things like that, pollution and other things, right? So what are the solutions? And again, this is a very important topic here. A very little bit of change and we can make, or we can change the way things are. Now the sad thing is that even the central government and many state governments as well as other departments of government, they are not aware about the land that they have. Imagine this thing. So they don't know how much property they own. And this is a very, you can say, a very weird thing, because if we would have declared that we don't know how much money we have or how much property we have, then we would be behind the bars, isn't it? So government many times, CIG has also expressed its concern regarding it. Now this article is talking about this floor space index. If we properly, you can say, or if efficient use of FSI is done, then we can change the way things are in our urban area. Now FSI stands for floor space index, which is the total floor area built per square meter of land. I have an example here as well for you guys. So basically, for a single story building, right, if you are occupying 50% of that particular plot, right, if you are using just the 50%, this bit here, then the FSI would be half. Right, if you are using 100%, then the FSI would be 2. Sorry, not 2, 1. Right, and say for example, if you are adding one more floor on this thing, right? If you are adding 4-story, say for example, you are using half of this thing here, and if you are adding 4 stories, so again you are using 1, 2, 3, and 4 halves you are using, right? So what you have is in total is 2, right? So this is going to be your FSI with this particular land. So if we are using the other bit as well, if FSI is going up, so naturally if we are using the vertical space that we have, right, if we are adding floors and things like that, so less land will be used and more people can be accommodated over there. The other thing is that the biggest problem that we have here is that many prime properties, they are at the core, or you can say at the heart of a city. They belong to this government and they are not in use for a very long period of time, and this sort of big properties, vacant properties of government in different pockets of urban area is raising the price of real estate, and this is making things a bit tougher for everyone. So government should either rent this sort of things if they want to use, if this sort of land, if they want to use it in future, they should better rent it and make whatever they can and use it for betterment of the city. With this, dear friends, moving on to news item. INS Arihant left crippled after accident 10 months ago. This is the first, you can say, indigenous nuclear submarine, INS Arihant. Recently we have launched INS Calvary, and English version of this Calvary video, special video, is out, so make sure you check out our YouTube channel. Arihant is a most important platform because it has nuclear capabilities, right? And it was this accident took place because of a human error. Advanced Technology Vessel Project. This one is constructed. This submarine is constructed under this Advanced Technology Vessel Project. Mr. Trump has expressed that he has said that it is his firm stance on North Korea that has forced North Korea to take part of a talk that it has decided to go ahead with South Korea. So both this South and North, both are going to have a word or a chat regarding upcoming Winter Olympics, and this is a good step, right? This is a first good step. We need some more steps, and at the end of the day, we need a peaceful world, because nuclear threat is detrimental for humanity. A very sad accident took place, and we have lost many of our sports stars. Now the thing is, one of the main reason, it's not only this sports stars. Because of that, you have this picture here. We have every single day, right, somewhere around 300 people die in our country in road accidents. So make sure that you create awareness about this thing, right? Everyone should wear seat belts and things like that. And of course, you should be driving at a responsible speed. Tourism boost package for Meghalaya. Opposition is not happy about this thing because elections are just around the corner, but we have to think about the people of our country, right? Whether the government has taken this as a political step or not, we don't know, but one thing is for sure, that pumping money in Meghalaya and developing it as a religious and spiritual circuit is going to bring more tourists in Meghalaya, and this is going to lift its economy. We know that this northeastern states of our country, they have huge potential of tourism, and we should utilize them, their potential, right? Till now, because of connectivity, electricity and other things, they were not able to make the maximum out of it. With this, dear friends, Sushma Swaraj has talked about this tri-national highway. Basically, she urged NRIs to come back. Of course, we know that it is for those NRIs who are going to be a sort of brain gain. All those NRIs who are working, say for example, as laborers, so it is good that they stay in the country where they are finding a sort of employment, because it would be less trouble in our country, and if they are making a bit extra money over there, then there is no harm in it. And for country, the good thing is that you get remittance from them. So this are sort of win-win situation, and the country in which they are working, they are having labor shortage, so they will have labors and things. And all those basically brainers, right? All these people who are not laborers, highly skilled people, then they can come back and add their values and their things, or contribute in India's development. She has talked about this tri-nation highway, and you know that this is connecting India, Myanmar and Thailand, and from here we can have access to ASEAN. We have talked about this thing, but as it is mentioned, I thought let me share a map with you, so it will be a good revision. Now Rohingyas have said that because of the things or the way they were tortured, this thing has forced, this Rohingya insurgents have said that they were been left with no option, right? They were having no option at all. So this is the reason why they decided to pick up guns. This is a very dangerous thing. Of course, we know that things by the government, many of the things done by Myanmar government was not right. But when we have this sort of insurgency, then it is very difficult to end them as well. Now you have this insolvency companies who are trying to create a sort of fake front companies and then take part in asset reconstruction. They have been identified and investigation is on against them. Bad loan figure is out. 1,463 entities have been identified. They own somewhere around 100 crore rupees to PSBs. Gravitational wave, right? LIGO. LIGO, we are going to have LIGO in our country, and by 2025 it will be functional. As far as I know, it is going to be set up in Ladakh, right? If you know if you know the location of this thing, then do let me know, right? I'm not going to Google it. Let's see how many of you can get it right. I think it was between Uttarakhand and Ladakh, but as far as I know, it is going to come in this Ladakh. That's what Prime Minister said when he went to USA. It was at that point of time when this LEGO thing was decided. So let's see. With this, dear friends, a sort of accident took place in South China Sea between two ships, and as you can see, it has killed many people. 32 crew members are missing at present. And South China Sea is a very important piece of geographical location. Here you have two articles. One is about Ashwini Kumar, written by Ashwini Kumar. It is on human rights. It is talking about torture, right? And on torture, I have made a special video lecture available both in Hindi and English, and I would recommend to please check that one out. It will cover the views that have been expressed by Ashwini Kumar here. He is former law minister. So I have taken his views as well, and more than that, we have discussed about why it is detrimental for our country and some facts and figures. Very important item here for your human rights. And here this is about Rajnikant. We have talked about Rajnikant quite a lot of time, so no point in going through it again. These are your questions, right? Dear friends, I want to know that I started reading it loud for some of our dear friends who were because they are Divyangs, right? They were facing problem in reading this thing. So I'm not sure. I haven't heard from many of you regarding, do you still want me to continue read these questions out loud, or is it better for you guys to just download this file? I'm sure many of you download, most of you download this file from either our Telegram channel or from my Facebook page, right? So if you are comfortable in reading it, then do let me know, or you can tell me, so I rather than reading it out, I can just take you through it, and then we can move ahead. It may sound that we are just spending a couple of minutes after it, but the thing is that if it's really required, then I can continue, or else every minute, every second matters here. We can add some things here because we have a very limited period of time. So everything matters, right? 1 minute is a very precious thing here. So please let me know whether you want it or not. I will quickly read it out for you. So El Nino current appears along the coast of which one of the following? Brazil, Peru, Alaska, or Western Australia. Identify cold ocean currents or current from the below given list. You have Canary, Humboldt, Brazil, and Oyashiwo. And identify the person that you can see on your screen. The answer for the yesterday's challenge is Mr. Vijay Gokhale. He's going to be the new Foreign Secretary. With this, dear friends, don't forget to download this file from my Facebook page or our Telegram channel. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out StudyIQ.com for pen drive and tablet courses. Enjoy your studies. I will see you all soon. Take care. Goodbye for now. Jai Hind.